Winter is coming.
Where are my dragons?
In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die.
The things I do for love.
A Lannister always pays his debts.
Chaos is a ladder.
Hodor.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
We
We
Are the
Rewatchers on the wall.
Okay, whenever you're ready, let's start. Read it out loud, Mitchell.
Sorry. Oh. Okay. I've seen you, Pekka. No god would have a Pekka that small. That's all.
Thank you.
I had a better Tormund the other day. I actually practiced that one, but then I watched 7 more episodes. Oh, that's... Spoiler alert, I watched ahead.
Oh, no. Great.
Bastard.
You're going to be all over spoilers.
Well, now you know what happens again.
Turns out I still know.
What? Oh, yeah, we have a first ever sponsor. It's 90s beer commercials.
A
They
nonprofit
don't pay
organization.
anything now,
No.
apparently. We're actually paying them
Yeah.
and writing it off as a charitable expense.
But we're drunker. Just kidding. We record sober, as far as I know.
I take suppositories.
I
Before we start.
had to
I
drive
take
over
vodka
here. so-
suppositories. Whoa!
Mine's a mixture of coffee and cannabis. Just right up
Can
there.
I say-
And
Someone brewed coffee in the office today, and not many people in my office drink coffee, and I swear there was the smell of vodka in this guy's coffee. Like, I'm 44% sure he spiked his own coffee with vodka, and
He's covering up the smell of his alcohol with coffee, which is also a foreign smell
Yeah.
to everyone in the office.
I was just like...
oh, that's what coffee
They're like,
smells
oh, that's a weird coffee smell. Because, everyone knows what coffee smells like, but not everyone knows what vodka smells like.
I like how you're 44% sure.
Yeah, I mean,
What
that
an
took
odd
a
number.
lot of...
At least go with
well, it's an even number.
I am AK 47% sure. Combine your Russian firearms with your.
I'm pretty sure the reason plus
that
40
Russian? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the reason plus 44 is called plus 44 is because they were like, I'm 44% sure we can do this without
Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge. And they were...
Yes.
They were.
They,
It was their best attempt.
it was about 44% is good.
It's much better than their attempt with Matt Skiba. So
Oh, gosh, yeah, let's not talk about that.
We've already gone off the rails. This is the Rewatchers
we
on the
get here?
wall.
Yeah, it's important. Alkaline Trio is officially gone because Dan Adriano just joined.
That's Tyler Harris.
Yeah, whatever.
There's
Gosh dang
Riley
it.
Harris and Tyler McKinley. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episodes 1 through 4 now.
or we can just
Yeah.
keep talking about Tom DeLonge.
And aliens.
Switching to an alien podcast.
No, do you know I spent too long writing this? Here's a summary for what happened in the first 4 episodes
yeah, I
of
forgot
season
to do
6. Davos finds Jon's dead body. Melisandre mopes around. Alistair Thorne reveals he killed Jon, and everyone is super shocked. Ramsay eulogizes Miranda and swears revenge on her killers, then gives her body to the dogs. Reek and Sansa are being chased by the Boltons, then they are caught. Then Brienne and Pod show up and save the day. Sansa now accepts Brienne's offer of service. Cersei learns of Myrcelle's death, and Jaime and Cersei vow to get back everything they've lost. The nuns continue to work on Marjorie, Ilaria, and the Sand Snakes kill Doran and Tristan. All the ships in Marine's Harbor have been destroyed. Dario and Jorah find evidence of Drogon and the Dothraki. Dany is a prisoner of Khal Morro, who is unimpressed by her fancy title, but when they realize she was married to Khal Drogo, they are going to take her to join the Wives of Dead Khal's club. Arya is blind and gets her ass kicked by the waif. Davos is still holed up with the loyal members of the Watch. Alistair tells them to give up or be killed. He doesn't know Ed is already left to get the wildlings. Melisandre looks like the witch from The Witch. Brandon's tripping balls. He sees Ned, Lyanna, Benjen, and Hodor's kids, and Hodor can talk normal. Mira is getting restless. I don't know what that name is. Thorin is getting ready to kill the loyal Watcher when the wildlings show up. Everyone who stabbed Jon is thrown in his cell. The Mountain is dispensing justice in King's Landing. Tom won't let Cersei have the Red Keep or leave the Red Keep. Jaime tells him to say sorry. He does. Cersei may still be able to manipulate him. Marine Small Council convenes. The Masters have retaken Slaver's Bay. Tyrion is story time with the dragons. After the waif attacks Arya again, and Jaqen tells Arya to follow him. Ramsay kills Roose and finds out that Walda has given birth, then feeds Walda and the baby to the dogs. Brienne tells Sansa about the last time that she saw Arya. Theon is going home. Yara and Balon discuss tactics. Balon walks on an Indiana Jones bridge in a hurricane when his brother Euron confronts him and pushes him to his death. Yara swears vengeance on whoever did it. But if Yara wants the rules, she'll have to earn it. Davos asks Melisandre to bring back Jon from the dead. She tries it, but he's still dead. Just kidding. He was just waiting to wake up until everyone had left the room. Davos is going to be Jon's advisor. Tormund and Ned are happy to see him. Gilly and Sam are going to Sam's home because she can't come to Old Town. Bran watches Ned fight to rescue his sister from the Targaryens. I wasn't clear on that. I couldn't tell exactly. I can't remember. Bran needs to learn everything. Dany arrives at the Dead Call Wives Club and doesn't like it. Varys tries to provide a way out for the prostitute that was helping the Harpies. Tyrion tries to hold family game night. Varys' little birds are actually kids, making Varys the coolest Fagin ever. Pycelle has the oldest man fart I have ever heard. Jaime and Cersei clear out a small council meeting just by showing up. Tommen and the High Sparrow talk, and the High Sparrow treats Tommen like an adult. Arya gets really good at the name game and gains her sight back. The Embers visit Winterfell and bring Asha and Rickon as gifts. Jon finally kills the boy. That must have been what Aemon was talking about, right? Along with all the other Watch traders. Bran, Sansa, and Pod arrive at Castle Black. That Sansa-Jon hug is real precious. Sansa wants to take Winterfell back. Melisandre's going to follow Jon now. Peter lets the Lords of the Vale know how easily he can control Robin. Tyrion brokers a peace with the Masters and with the endorsement of Grey Worm and Missandei. Daario and Jorah are caught trying to sneak into the city. The High Sparrow and Olenna are going to try and prevent... Hold on. The High Sparrow lets Marjorie go and visit Loras. Cersei tries to advise Tommen. Cersei, Jaime, Kevin, and Olenna are going to try and prevent Marjorie's Walk of Atonement. Theon is home. Asha tries to seduce Ramsay, and then he kills her. Jon gets a letter from Ramsay and decides to take Winterfell. Dany visits the Calls, burns them alive, and takes all their armies. That was a rough one. I'm sorry.
That was hardcore.
I had a typo of one letter that said throne instead of thorn, and my brain could not figure out who I meant. And I was like, oh, thorn, duh. Yeah.
There's a lot of thrones in this show, so...
That is also true.
Riley, what character do you want to start with?
I mean, we can just start at Castle Black.
Let's start with Ed.
I feel like it's a book club.
Ed's cool, man.
Good for Ed.
I want to get a beer with Ed.
So did you guys believe for 1 second that Jon Snow was dead?
No.
Do you think if you would have been watching this for the first time, that would you believe for 1
I
second?
mean, I
that
am
Jon Snow
watching it for
dead?
I
the
was
first
watching
time.
for the
Okay,
first
okay,
time.
wait.
When it was on TV.
When it was on TV.
Possibly. But probably not.
Had you seen Jon Snow in like promotional stuff or something that really gave it away, or did you just feel storytelling wise that night?
No, storytelling wise.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I had seen him in promo stuff and on a podcast I listened to. They spoiled. It was not even a Game of Thrones podcast.
Riley's
It was
been
a
listening to
Bachelor
other Game of
podcast.
Thrones podcast. Shame her.
Shame.
It was a Bachelor one, and
Shame.
she was like, "Oh yeah, we were on this beach, and it looked like this place." And he wasn't even resurrected on a beach, so I don't know why
Oh, that
they
hoe.
brought it up.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Near
She
to
just
it.
wanted to
Which
brag that she
Bachelor
watched
podcast do you
it.
listen to?
It was Olivia Carides.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
She's
so
great.
many now. Like
There's a
every
lot.
former contestant has their own.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind.
Hey,
won't-
we're all about entering saturated markets. We should start a Bachelor podcast after our Game of Thrones one is over.
You don't know how done for that is, dude.
I felt like it was the first time I watched it. I figured it out immediately. As soon as they started stabbing him, I was like, Melisandre's going to resurrect him.
Yeah,
because,
that was
She
the big thing.
shows
If
up.
they had not been at the wall with them,
Right.
like I might have bought it more. But I was like, yeah, she's here. Like that's.
I mean, I do want to say I don't feel like it's necessary for it to be a surprise, for it to be
Yeah.
a good storytelling moment.
It's still cool. Yeah.
I was still like, whoa, this is awesome, but I knew it was coming from like the beginning. So
Yeah. I think too much stock sometimes is placed in shock value to the detriment of good TV. And I think that Game of Thrones does a good job at not just going for the shock.
Yeah.
They definitely do at
Oh,
points. But I've never felt that it's overly manipulative.
Yeah, see, so they come out to his old body, and there's another magic eyelid scene. He just waves his hands over the face, and the eyelids are closed.
I
Damn it.
forgot about this.
Gosh. Oh. But I love that Davos and Ed, man. Is there anyone else? Like, and then there's the
my
two
gosh.
unnamed guys.
Yeah.
But like, those are my ride or
you are
dies.
pretty hardcore.
They do look
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
We've never seen them, and they have enough loyalty to Jon that they're.
I'm saying Pip and Gren didn't need to die, and they could have been right there. Oh, but
They were there in spirit.
Yeah, Ed's awesome. Davos is cool. He's like a it's cool to have characters in this show that I'm like always super stoked to see. And Davos is one of them because I'm like, he's just rad.
Yeah.
And he's under enough people's radar that they're not going to immediately try to kill him.
I have a question for you, Tyler. How would you feel about laying out a leather mat and covering it in flour and rolling around?
Are we starting the Bachelor podcast already? Is this our first date?
I was just wondering if you would ever consider having sex with old lady Melisandre.
Nope.
Can I show you, like, if Rush Limbaugh were an old woman, I think that's what he would look like.
Rush Limbaugh's shitty body.
Yeah, I did get that from Cards Against Humanity for sure.
That's fair.
But that's the big reveal at the end of episode 1, and that's really resurrection and everything, is finding out that she is a very, very old soul, and magic is real as hell in that necklace.
Yeah, it's interesting the relationship that this show is giving us with magic, because it's like, yeah, this shit's for real, guys, and then it's like, then the people who are doing the magic are like, I don't know if this shit's for real, and they like said just enough stuff that you're like, yeah, I don't know if this shit's for real either, and then like the next thing happens, you're like, oh, this shit is for real.
I will say they messed up with this.
Oh, really?
And Katie pointed it out to me. I didn't even notice. Two seasons ago, maybe.
Oh, she takes it
she's
off.
She's bathing
in the
without
bath,
it.
Yeah. And I didn't notice it.
And she's talking.
Maybe we were just seeing through Selisa's broken ass eyes, because I don't know if she's seen reality in a very long time.
Yeah.
It was made up for, addressed as like it was lingering effects, and it was because Selisa's such a big believer that it was almost like the glimmer lasted longer.
That's a continuity error. Get the fuck out.
It absolutely. And I don't know why this reveal was necessary, other than to be like, oh shit, magic is super real, and she's about to do some stuff. But okay,
I don't understand why it's there, but.
I mean, it's kind of like she's... Because think about what happens after it. I mean, not that it's super important still, but like, that is symbolic of her just being like, I'm giving up my facade of this just because I've lost hope and faith type of thing. I mean, it's not necessary because that's definitely shown in the next episode.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a way cooler way to show it.
Yeah, and you get some flashbacks to the witch.
Yeah.
Gosh,
so that's...
PTSD
At this point, was it flash forwards to the witch?
Yeah, probably.
Well, this is probably before the witch, right?
It actually might have been around the same time, because that was at Sundance before like a wide release.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's a good movie. You should watch The Witch. That's what our next podcast is going to be about. Okay, let's go ahead.
Castle Black, I mean, it's mostly like these guys are shut up in a room and they are really sad about John, and then two things happen at once. Ed goes to get the wildlings, and they get the red woman in there. I love the wildlings entrance.
Yeah.
The giant just smashes a dude against the wall.
Yeah,
and it's like, all of a sudden I don't give a crap about the night's watch.
Yeah. There's that moment where Davos trolls Thorne pretty hard when he's like, we'll give you a horse. We'll send you the one. He's like, I want some mutton. I want some mutton too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything Davos does in this scene is just like, this guy's cool.
Yeah, it's cool because I love when you get to see like kind of hints of Davos's past life, because like he's like the picture of like stability in this show. Like he really is a rock. Even when crazy stuff is going terrible around him, he's like right there, just being awesome. But yeah, to see like the mutton thing, that's totally a dumbass like smuggler's like stall or something. You know what I mean? I can totally see him doing that to get out of a tight situation 10 years ago or something. Like,
what about some mutton?
The old mutton trick.
The old mutton. Give him the old mutton.
And he seamlessly like, you buy his loyalty, and the fact that John's just like, yeah, you can be one of my right hand men right away. Like, you absolutely buy it, and he's just out here like, yeah, let me go. I know this witch. Let me.
I watched her give birth to a demon. Yeah, she just killed my best friend in the world. But yeah,
is there anything else we need to talk about pre-resurrection? Because that whole scene's interesting.
Oh, they like take Alistair and everyone to the dungeons or whatever they have.
With that little twat, Ollie. I never used the word twat, but man, that kid
deserves
everybody.
Like, every time I talk about him, I think I wrote like little bitch next to it. It's like my new little bitch.
He's like Joffrey, but even in a more little bitch way.
His dumb face, like just the face he makes, like, oh, child.
I'm a savage Irish boy. I don't know if the kid's acted since, but if he is, it's in a potato famine movie, for sure.
Which those are all the rage. Yeah. Oscars 2020, there will be at least 3.
Hey, Northern Ireland is all the rage right now. You need to watch Dairy Girls, okay?
I really do.
He says in his Dairy Girl voice.
I really do. John, I mean, this all moves pretty quickly. The Breath of Life comes back in. We get a nice little crack shot. We see, after everyone's walked out, the dog starts to, like, whimper a little bit, and then we get the
yeah.
Here's what I want to know. All right, hard questions here. when you're stabbed like that many times, and you're resurrected through magic, and you've lost that much blood, your body still needs the blood, right? So does your body just magically generate more blood? Is that what took so long? Like
here,
while everyone's waiting.
Let me answer that question with another question. If you ever played Mario,
yeah,
it's just like that.
Oh,
doesn't matter what's happened before. You're just back. just back. You have less coins, but you're back, and you can get more.
John did check his pockets, and he was like, "Oh, the silver's gone."
Well, and he's got more places to put things now.
That's true. You just slot them right in there.
So many
those are inventory upgrades. How do you think Link did
level
it?
3 backpack?
I think it's pretty fun and a little, frankly, Jesus-esque as he walks through the courtyard and people are like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. And then Tormund, like, you could tell Tormund, it was a tentative partnership, but now he's like, well, there's something about this dude. I already had some respect. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Except for apparently John has a little penis. He's also pretty short for a leading man. And I'm like, oh, good. A realistic guy leading a show.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know he's good with his mouth, and so what? I guess he doesn't eat?
He kind of gives Tormund gives him a hug, and he doesn't hug him back, and then he immediately like leaves him and gives Ed this huge hug, and that was a little disrespectful. Yeah. Man, Tormund's done a lot for the guy.
Oh,
he deserved a hug back.
You know what? Tormund's about to. His shiny eye is going to go to another figure pretty soon here.
I ship this so hard.
He is looking for his next bear. Oh, yeah. All the way from the Sapphire Isles.
It's turning into a wrestling match? What's going on?
In one corner. All Tars. Yeah, dog. Yeah, I'm
If
pretty.
your lovemaking needs a wrestling announcer, you're doing it right.
Oh, I can't. Where's John's? Okay.
Gosh.
So, what did you think of the hanging?
It's one of my favorite parts. Like,
it's satisfying.
It's the moment where John reaches that point where he's crossed the threshold of the wall, gone north, come back. He can no longer reside in this world, and so he does what he has to do and then leaves.
I like it because he says he's like you have to. The oath is until death. Like I'm out. I'm dead now. But people forget Thorne is a douchebag from episode 1. Like, that guy is a bigger figure than you'd think. And yeah, John was killing the boy, and then he killed Ollie, and that's the second time we've referenced that joke. But it's good. It's good. I like hearing the neck snap. I love the last words by Thorne. I mean, it's just he tries to. Thorne is honorable in his own way, and he is that to the end.
Yeah. No, and I think the reason I like Thorne's character is because of the battle at the wall, and like we kind of see a little bit of who he is, but he's still a dick. Like, that doesn't necessarily change. Like, just because we are like, oh, he's a full character, it doesn't change that he is still actually a dick.
It makes him a better dick.
Right?
Though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a dick and the only thing we can see about you is you're a dick, that's something. But if you're a dick with balls and rounded character,
what is happening?
You're a better dick.
You're
I'm sorry,
full dick.
Way too much dick talk on
Full
this
dick.
episode.
Yeah,
and it's not over.
But yeah, I was glad to see it. That's a good moment for that character, and it's cool to see that come to an end. One of my favorite moments in the show so far is when he's like, "Well, Ed, you're in charge," and he just leaves, and the one guy in the watch is like, "Should we close the gate, Lord Commander?" And Ed's like, "I'm not the Lord Commander." And there's just this long pause. He's like, "Yeah, close the gate." It's like, are you really not? No one's gonna close the gate. Just close the gate. I'll do it. Fine. But yeah, I'm excited to see that because I really do like Ed's character. Mm-hmm. He's like one of those really understated, just always there guys. That's pretty rad. So
this is the first time we're kind of a confusing character collision coming up here because Sansa gets with Brienne and then they immediately run into Jon. And of all the Stark reunions, this might be the least exciting one.
It's the first one, isn't it? This is like the first Stark
but
reunion.
it's definitely not one that like I'm like, can't wait till Sansa and Jon see each other again.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, they lived together for a long time, so it is nice to see like that
and they do such a good job at just being like, there is a mutual, like, you represent this old pure time, and I know you've grown and changed. Because they've heard about each other from afar. Yeah, but it's super interesting. Sansa somehow gets away through the freaking tundra with Theon, and then Theon just is like, well, you're with Brienne, I gotta go home, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like, why would he go back?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. But it is
did
cool
he
to see those two
know?
together.
Did Balon die yet at that point? Did he know?
No.
He
Because
didn't
he
know
until he shows up.
Oh yeah,
and it happens
I
like
forgot.
right before.
Because I'm like, if you think he's still alive, there's no reason that's a good idea to go back there.
Did you think for 1 second Sansa and Theon might have a romantic connection?
No. He doesn't have a peen.
I didn't know if they were trying to hint at that.
And Sansa demands the peen.
Look, one of our favorite romances right now is between an unsullied,
That's true.
Yeah,
who is unequipped.
he might have a peen.
Yeah,
though.
we don't know what's going on down there.
Missandei's a slave. She's not high maintenance at all. Sansa is high maintenance.
That's true.
She's
true.
a lady. She needs the peen.
I think I've already contributed too much penis context to this, so I will not
She
make
needs
a
the
deal
pillar
breaker.
and the stones.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't. I wasn't. I was. Yeah.
No. They're like
But-
siblings. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
It is a nice, interesting moment, though, because previously it has been shown how much she does hate him.
Mm-hmm.
And it is believable when she does show some appreciation and affection for him. In a way that I didn't feel like erased his bad deeds. But, I don't know. It's what the show does good.
Well,
Gray areas.
I think, too, she might be the only person who's close to understanding why he is Reek.
And
You
she
know
might
what I
she
mean?
might be the only person who will.
Yeah.
And so I think that too, like, that kind of forges a bond between them that I think that she respects in a way that is
He
good.
is, it's interesting because I do pity him, even though he did a lot of horrible things. He got pretty much replaced by not that different looking of a human who did even more horrible things. But yeah, for Sansa, that is less her reality, but I think the more she gets affected by Ramsay, the more she understands how Theon literally lost his mind.
Right.
And it's sad because Theon has sort of reached the end of a character arc, and it's just sad it's more of like a pity end where you don't feel so bad about what he did, but you know he has that inside of him now. And I'm in a gray area with how I think of Theon.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I will say there was a point where I was like, I just hope he dies. But now I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens. I think there's fun stuff to explore now that he's not like under Ramsay's thumb.
Yeah.
And like that recovery or whatever.
We do see Brienne announce her service to someone for the 19th millionth time.
Finally. And finally,
Oathmaker.
so like, yeah. Gosh. There's
Lady
gonna be a
Sansa,
supercut of
by
that.
the old gods and the new. Okay. And then, Sansa's just way taller than Jon. And I say this as someone
so tall.
who's pretty short, and I'm a little mixed. And Harry's shorter than Ginny, and I'm just like, what's with all these tall gingers?
Did you know that I'm taller than Brienne?
Are you really?
Yeah,
Are you?
I'm an inch taller than her.
Oh, wow.
I looked this up because I was like, man, because that's what Katie and I think about every time. Like, man, John's so fucking short. Or like, how tall is he? 5'1"? What? I don't know how tall he actually is, but he's
I think he's 5'8" or 5'9".
5'1"?
Hey,
he's not 5'8". My wife is 5'8", and she's taller than him. I'm
Maybe
pretty
he's
sure.
5'7" then. I'm taller than Jon. Look, here's where I always hinge my pride. I am taller than Tom Cruise, Zac Efron, and Jon Snow.
He's 5'8".
He is 5'8".
Oh, wow.
But man, I feel ginormous now.
Yeah.
I never really feel like I'm a tall person, being
What?
6'4". I just have... if people
You're
top
so
of their head are
blessed.
at my eye level, I think they're taller than me, for some reason. I don't know why. It's all based on my eyes. And,
You gotta fix your posture, your eye posture.
Your persona is located somewhere below your eyes or right on level with them.
I think that's where my self-esteem resides, is a little bit lower than that.
Hey,
so,
that's not bad.
I know.
So,
Mine still has never mind. Oh, that's gonna be okay. The letter. This is a little bit more, I think, interesting and important in the books. But Ramsay sends a letter. What did you think about that in general? It's just like a shit talking letter.
Here's what I think. I think that he made a mistake because Jon was like, "Oh, I don't want to get into it. I'm tired of fighting. Like, I'm fighting this whole time." And then he gets that letter and he's like, "Okay, let's go fight. Like, we're gonna go now." And he has a whole wildling army, and those guys are freaking crazy. So I don't know. I mean, like, there's not a ton of them, but
yeah, there's significantly less of them.
we've seen what they can do.
Yeah.
To
Get
villages.
beaten by Westerosi armies.
But yeah, that letter, I mean, he threatens to do deplorable things, and he talks all sorts of shit, and he's just, man. But honestly, it was well written, so props.
Yeah.
If the Boltons ever take
wrote a
over,
well-written
that
novel.
is going to go down like the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. That's what the Bolton world values.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Ramsay murdering.
Yeah, it's a natural segue.
Ugh.
Ramsay is a piece of shit. His lover has died, and he is really bad at eulogies. We find that he doesn't want to give her a burial, but instead wants to feed her to his dogs.
Well, that's where they spend the most time together.
She is the Kennel Master's daughter.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But he then kills his dad. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's a little
Honestly,
sudden for a character
That
like
surprised
Bruce.
me, honestly.
Yeah.
Of the deaths, I was like, oh, cool. And
Yeah.
didn't really affect me a huge way either way, but I was like, just enough of like, well, at least this dude's out of the picture. That was a good one. I really hate Roose Bolton.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But like his even worse son is now in
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to watch Ramsay play out his daddy issues in every scene they're in together. So that's good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Well, and then he, kills his rival little brother, and needlessly,
That poor little
in my
girl.
opinion.
That just was stuck in that marriage and had that baby and then just got
Yeah.
eaten by dogs.
Poor Walda. Yeah, that's a bad
Walda.
situation for everyone.
Yeah. Out of all the Freys I've met in this show so far, she's definitely been my favorite.
She was
She's
so
the
sweet.
nicest.
She is
Yeah.
really nice. And seemingly happy somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she
Good
was like
for her.
wife to a good lord. She gave him a son, which is like in a non-sexist way, like the duty of a wife of a lord here in Westeros, and they were fairly wealthy. I mean, she's kind of in a trashy, like Winterfell's kind of a dump right now, but I mean, you can't be too sad.
Yeah. So that was a bummer to see her go. But
I will say the new Lord Karstark is a total bitch, and I hate him.
Oh yeah.
He's just like that, like bully's right hand man. He's like, yeah, dude. He says we'll give you a wedgie.
yeah, he
Like,
totally is.
hate that guy.
He was all ready to be on board, and of course, now that I think it's funny that we don't blink at some of the terrible things that Ramsay does now, but he's in charge and he's trying to get the northern houses in line, and that means the reappearance of our favorite youngest Stark daughter, Rickon,
Oh,
and
I
Shaggy
wasn't
Dog.
aware. Yeah, good to see him. I think bad to see him in that place.
Yeah.
Definitely the most useless character from
Yeah.
the family that we care about the most. I mean, which is not entirely his fault,
Yeah.
but I mean, he seems to have been living an okay existence, and then all of a sudden it's just no longer advantageous.
Yeah.
But he brings Tonks with him, so
Kid's
it's okay.
huge now.
Yeah, it's okay for like
Yeah.
3 minutes and then she's gone.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
That
I
was
like that she
sad.
just went for it, though. I mean,
Yeah, it made sense. Like everything, I knew that scene was gonna end badly once that started, and yeah, I'm sad to see her.
What if
gone.
she just
She's
killed
so
him?
Great. That would have been awesome. I
That
would
would've
love
been
that
so
too.
cool.
I don't narratively know how it makes sense, but it would have been.
It
Very
would. I
fun.
would have been excited to watch it.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, think about it, she was gone for like 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Nah,
just one.
just
No, two.
No,
Two?
2, I
2.
think.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
disappears like 2.5, 2 and
One and a
change.
half, maybe?
She's at the end of 3. She leaves.
So 4 and 5. So she's gone for 2
Yeah,
seasons,
just 2 seasons. Yeah.
and she just comes back for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
That
sure.
was sad.
I missed her. I think we talked about her a couple episodes ago, and yeah. But I always like her stuff, at least. So.
Absolutely, and she's dead. And Rickon is in danger. His direwolf is dead. Direwolves are dropping like flies. Poor little Shaggy Dog.
Yeah.
Seriously, the kid is tiny, and then he comes back as like a preteen.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Those Stark boys just shoot right up.
Well,
He's
I was
like
gonna
on-
say, I think it's so weird they recast Bran for this season. Like, it's such a bizarre. I thought the kid was doing fine. Like I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
what
just-
focus group told him they needed a man to play him. But
If anyone recast a 3-eyed raven, come on.
yeah, give me a different old man.
And also give him a shave. But yeah, no. How many direwolves are we down to now?
Ghost.
Nymeria is out there
Nymeria is
somewhere.
out there.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
John's is dead.
No, John's
is Ghost.
John's is okay.
Rob's
is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
John's
and we
is
have
dead.
Brands is alive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Summer.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't
Summer's
remember.
alive.
That's it.
I haven't
So
been keeping
they're
inventory.
a little bit bigger in the books, and people get real sad when they die.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got enough left. All right, where to next? Tyler McKinley, you get to pick.
Oh, do I?
I mean, those two naturally work together. But now we just get to go anywhere in the world. Well,
let's just get this shit out of the way. Dorn.
Oh yeah, Dorn makes its triumphant. Yeah, let's knock out some of these little ones.
So the toxic anus that is Dorn. It is really quick. It happens really fast, but I can't remember her. Is it
Ilaria?
Ilaria, whatever. Sand. She and her.
Sand snakes.
No, just the one.
Her direct daughter.
Her daughter.
Yeah.
Go and they assassinate Prince Doran. They like act like they're all buddy, which I still don't get why she's like allowed in the palace at all.
Did you know that her daughter's hair grew?
Yeah.
Like this is supposed to be happening pretty quickly after, and the hair's much longer.
Yep.
I thought that was a Dornish thing.
She's got a really greasy mullet thing going on.
Not hot.
But she's the most beautiful woman in the world.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, yeah, they kill him, and they're like, "Weak men will never rule Dorne again." And then they also kill his bodyguard. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, and then the other two Sand Snakes kill Prince Trystane.
Who still, for a preteen, just has the best chest hair.
Gosh, I wonder about you sometimes.
Dorne also,
I wonder about you the way people wonder about Varys. All right.
Fair. But yeah, he gets
frequently and lovingly, I think is what he said.
You are a master of whispers. Yeah, it just happened to be whispers about really weird things.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I like how Trystane dies, because it's like, which one are you going to fight? And then the other one just stabs him through the back of the head. We get a nice
it made me like realize, okay, good. They know that all this is dumb bullshit, because they just like...
They spent about 3 minutes just getting rid of a lot of this.
Yes.
I wonder if that was in response to the previous season or not from people,
Probably.
but I'm glad they got it over with quick, just like we are. Let's stop talking about it.
I guess we can do the Iron Islands real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Iron Island stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like Yara. I think that is a cool performance, and it's like a unique character in this world that we haven't spent a ton of time with. And based on these episodes, I'm hoping we spend a little more time with them. But yeah, so Yara and her dad are arguing about stuff because they totally shit the bed over in Westeros and just really are not in a good place. And then Balin is killed by who's revealed to be his brother, who's just been like pirating around, right?
Yep.
That's kind of his whole deal.
That's his, yep.
Mm-hmm.
He gets pushed off a bridge.
Why do they have a rope bridge in their castle?
I will say, if the only way for you to get to one building to another is a rope bridge, just stay in the other building.
Yeah. You don't need to go
In the
there.
middle of a storm. And if you've ruled this place for centuries and you haven't built a stone bridge,
Seriously.
you're lazy.
Or iron?
Iron?
Iron
An
Islands.
iron bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, anyways.
They do not sew bridges, all right?
But yeah, Balin is dead, so another evidence that magic works, possibly?
Right, Balin was the
Right,
last
he was the
name.
And then Yara's like, well, when I'm queen, I'm gonna find out who did this, and the guy's like,
Yara thinks that, like, she's a shoo-in, and the world isn't that sexist. Also, in this section of my note, I have a note that says the Jazz suck, because they were just having a really bad moment and ended up losing that game. Important side note. It was a game against the Warriors when I was watching this.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the Iron Islands, just...
Jazz specialty.
The Iron Islands quite a bit more intriguing. I don't know if I actually enjoy them in the books, but they are a much deeper area. Like the... him and the guy who died, oh my gosh. Balon and his brothers. There's more brothers, and they're significant. One of them is like a drowned god priest. And it's just a much more interesting dynamic. So when he does show up, there's definitely this infusion of energy and character coming through these islands. Because otherwise, I mean, not a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah, not a lot. But I'm excited to see more.
Yeah.
there.
Tell me more, tell me more. Tell me more about Sam.
Sam is going home.
He's going home.
Or do we need to talk about first? He's like, "Hey, John." Or do we? Was that
Yeah,
last
he
season?
pretty much
that was
asked
last
John
season. Okay.
permission, like, can I go and
Yeah.
and be Oh yeah, so he doesn't know John dies?
No.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. But he's on his way. We think he's on his way to be a maester, but they're gonna make a pit stop.
Yeah, at his house on Hornhill.
Hornhill Hills.
And man,
Do they get there? I don't think they get there in these, do they?
do they not? Gosh, you keep better track.
So anyway,
They're just on a boat.
he tells Gilly that he's super sick, and they just have this moment of assuring that they're in this together. And then we find out that they are on their way to Hornhill before he heads down to train to be a maester. And we know he does not have a great family situation, so there's like some trepidation about going there, especially bringing Gilly. But I'm excited to see a new place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Excited to see like Sam and Gilly in a place where people don't necessarily know. I don't know. People don't know them.
That's all that really happens with
Oh
Sam.
yeah, they're
No,
just,
there's not about.
yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see his dad, who we've heard much about and how
Yeah.
awful he is, but we've never seen him yet.
I'm actually pretty excited to see what you guys think of his dad.
Where do we want to go next? You want to talk about Bran?
Bran is
Yeah.
stoned
Yeah.
and a grown-ass man.
And got a haircut.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that one of the children of the forest was just giving him a haircut, trying to do the old chatting for a tip. You know?
They gave him a haircut when they shaved that guy's beard.
Yeah, seriously. They shaved him like, oh, there's a Max von Sydow under there.
There's an Oscar winner under this facial hair.
So Bran gets something to do. Finally,
Yeah.
he's going to take these glimpses into the past. What did you guys think so far? What we're being given looks at, and obviously they're going to have some bigger connections. What do you think so far about what we're seeing?
It's cool. This show has not used flashback really much. The one time it did was the Cersei stuff. And this is like obviously like very narratively like justified as to why it's happening, but it's kind of cool to see like a young Ned Stark. I don't know, like he's like the guy who will never, his ghost will haunt this show and this world forever, you know what I mean? And so to see those glimpses of him as a younger man, and to see Bran kind of also coming to terms with some of the discrepancies between what actually happened versus the stories he's heard all his life are really cool.
It's especially prevalent in the books that you take a lot for granted as history that is unreliable. And in fact, I mean, in the books you are in character perspective. So there are, I don't think George R. R. Martin ever abuses this, but there are things that are misdirects or unreliable that you find out are wrong later on. But yeah, this is cool. You see old Winterfell, you see Lyanna come in, you see that Hodor was a kid named Willis, and he was already a little slow. Okay, but then we go to the big thing that happens is there's a fight at the end of this, and we see the Sword of the Morning, generally thought to be the best fighter in Westeros at the time, and it was really curious, why was he not at the Battle of the Trident, which is like, I don't know if it's the climax, but it's the huge battle of Robert's Rebellion. And
Was Arthur Dayne Kingsguard to
yes,
Rhaegar?
yeah, he is. It's he and another Kingsguard against a bunch of guys, but my dude is double wielding and going ham.
That's one of the coolest fights we've
Yeah,
seen in
that
a
was
while.
super cool.
It's really like well choreographed and kind of awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I think you see that Ned is like a good soldier, but he's not necessarily like a special fighter.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think that is something that is good to know about him, is like Westeros isn't a place where you have to be the best fighter to lead. Like it does value what he brought to the table
Right.
as far as a leader, you know, and stuff like that. Like that stuff is important. But I feel like even in the North, like those stories about him were probably told. He's like, yeah, he took down this guy. and he's awesome. You should totally follow him. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of see the politics of that side of it and stuff. And so, yeah, it's
and what's he going to do? Be like, no, I had some help. But we found a good connection that it is Mira's father who actually helps him.
Who gets taken out immediately when the fight starts.
Yeah.
He's just sitting on the ground bleeding, waiting for his chance to get his knife.
Which, whenever you see something like where one guy takes on a bunch of people, like I'm imagining a really good fight scene in the Transporter. I know, trash movie, great fight scene, but they've
got one Dario now, so
yeah,
Transporter's pretty good again.
But you're always like the first guy that just goes down from a face punch, like he's gonna get back up, right? And this is just it came back to haunt him right in the back of the neck.
Yeah, they do a good job of. The obviously the cliche everyone knows about when like one guy's taking on a lot in a movie. There's the side people are always just like doing random stuff in the background, like they're not really a threat, but they do a good job of making this fight move.
Yeah,
so that doesn't happen. It's like guys running. The guys who aren't in the fight are running after the movement of the fight, which is a smart decision. I don't know. Have I already asked you the guys this question about this subject on this podcast before?
You're vague enough. I have no idea.
This always so stop me if I have.
Okay.
This always makes me think stuff like this is like, man, how unrealistic it is for one guy to take on like 5 guys, because if they all attack at once, especially like swords, you're gone. Have I talked to you about this?
No.
Okay. So then it got me thinking. I'm like, what scenario would have to happen for someone to be able to do that? Then I thought, what scenario would have to happen for me to be able to do that? And I'm like, it would have to be infants. Like, I would have to be...
For 5 to 1?
So, like, I think of my son. He's a little taller than most people his age. Just clawing, biting, pure instinct. If you had a group of infants who wanted to kill you, and, like, that was their main goal, how many would it take to you out? How many... Like, when is one more infant added to that? One too many. Like... You can maybe take on 15 infants, but 16 is the ones where they actually kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say, if we're talking infants, I've seen that some of them.
Sorry, toddlers, not infants.
Okay,
toddlers.
I was gonna say,
so like
some
2
of
to
them
3
infants
year
can
olds
barely hold their own heads up. It's just gonna be, I will be crushed by them. There will be so many that the weight will crush my sternum and heart.
Think of my son trying to.
Okay, yeah.
So like they can stand, walk, climb. He's really good at climbing.
Toddlers.
Clawing, biting.
I honestly think I could take 50 toddlers.
I was thinking...
I think it would be way harder to keep all of them alive than to kill them all, honestly.
Yes, agreed.
Like, these are like... These aren't real toddlers. They're like... They want to kill you.
They're like whites, the little kids that killed the German lady last season.
So it's like... I'm right with you. I'm thinking I could take on like 55, 60... Because you just kick
Do I have a weapon? What
they're right at foot level.
Like,
for your foot to go into their face, it's right there. Just bam, bam. Yeah.
Okay.
One climbs on your back, you just grab. So I thought a lot
But
about
you would
this.
get overrun eventually.
I
By 72.
thought a lot about
72
this.
is my
Then
number.
I finished wiping and flushed the toilet.
And that's it for Science Corner on Rewatchers on the Wall.
Anyway, they do a good job of making it not be that. Arthur Dane is a legitimate badass because there's no toddlers jumping around in the corner. Right?
I think it's interesting when like Jamie, we've seen a lot of really good fighters like Jamie and Brienne get into squabbles with multiple people, and it's like even for a great fighters like them, if you put 3 just trained people against them, it's going to be difficult for them to win. So whereas John fights off a ton of mindless zombies, but you're eventually going to get overrun. I think that is a good measure of that, and it shows how good Sir Arthur Dane was, and I believe again it's a really well done fight, so much better than the one in Dorne last year.
Yeah, so much better.
A couple of just one flashback note I want to make is that Ned is, or is it Benjen, is talking to the kid and he tells him to keep his shield up. He
Ned
says it
talking to Benjen,
the exact way that John says it to Ollie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same
I
one.
didn't make that connection, but
We should mention that. Wait, is that revealed?
What?
What is in the tower?
No.
Like
No.
that's not even mentioned.
No.
I thought it was like just mentioned.
Wait, does it mention who he's trying to see?
I thought it was Liana or his sister or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it
he
is
mentioned
mentioned.
his
They were there
sister.
for his sister.
I thot it was mentioned.
He says,
Yeah.
"I'm here to get my sister."
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
some point. Yeah.
So she's essentially, because the Prince of Dorne at this time is has taken her, and so that is the controversy. Yes.
Anyways,
Or
No.
no.
The Mad King.
The Mad King.
yeah. Okay.
Like she's been taken, and that's who Ned is trying to.
And
get to.
that. I mean, that shows a lot how much he values her. Two of his Kingsguard are there guarding her.
This scene did make me think because for a brief moment I thought one of those soldiers was Dermot Mulroney, and I thought we should look at every episode and look at a new character and be like, who should Dermot Mulroney have played?
No one. The answer is no one, ever. Not in Game of Thrones, not anywhere. Done.
We'll revisit this. Okay.
But the end of this sequence is pretty important.
Oh, yeah.
It has a lot of impact.
Yeah, did you guys catch what happened at the end there? It's pretty subtle.
I mean, it doesn't stick out to me. I'm not, like, remembering it.
So nothing else has come that you're like, oh, that might factor into this?
I honestly don't remember.
He's been waiting for Bran for 1,000 years.
What?
No. So...
Like, still in the sequence?
No, I
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if we should say something.
I know. When Bran, like, yells and Ned turns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
he
that was
doesn't
important.
See him, but he can, like, hear
Yeah, it is. It resolves itself, too.
It does.
Like,
Yeah.
like we...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool and a scary thing. And we get so many misdirects in Game of Thrones that I was like, we just get thrown off because, like you said, flashbacks are a whole new world, and we're approaching it in a different narrative way.
Yeah.
From most things.
For sure.
Cool. Anything else for flashbacks or Bran? Mira's really bored in the cave, and like kind of have to be like, "Hey, like you're here for a reason. It's all good."
Yeah.
I kind of don't understand. Like, I understand the boredom, but I don't understand like what her alternative is. It's like,
Well, I think also it's like, oh great, I get to stay in the spot where I watched my brother die forever. You know, like
it's true.
I don't know. So I'm interested to see.
We take a quick detour over to Lord Baelish. He gets reunited with the little tit sucker, and he's getting ready to join the party. That's all that little kid will ever be to me.
Yeah, yeah.
He does that. He's still a brat. He still sucks at everything. Lord Royce is still just like... And then he pretty much... Baelish still has his wrap around his finger. He's like, should we kill this guy? I brought you a falcon.
Yeah.
Kid doesn't deserve a falcon. I hope it chews off his face.
He loves things that fly, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
Once
I didn't make that connection, but yeah.
He does. But that's what... Yeah.
He just gets frustrated trying to throw it out the moon door, and he's like, I'm dying!
He's coming back.
Jorah and Fabio have a less appealing banter than a lot of the other pairs of soldiers we've seen.
Yeah.
It's a little fun to watch them. They do the... First of all, they find the thing in the random field where a dragon flew off and you have zero idea where the dragon went. Somehow they find the field where she ends up, find evidence of her. And
her ring.
And
I was trying to think of possible solutions. The only thing I'd be is like, we just didn't see scenes of them like asking people, "Did you see a dragon?" Like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it went east.
They have like a sketch of it.
Yeah. They can see the chemtrails it was dropping. she's trying to seed the clouds above Slaver's Bay to keep
It's
the
Drogon's
masters.
trail. It looks like it's spelling out. You are gay. Oh, damn it!
it's the only
That
explanation.
edgy dragon teen.
Douche.
Yeah. So their stuff.
I don't actually hate it. I should say. I probably
but
would, but it was a little bit of a jump.
I totally agree with you. It's not great. I think me and Riley were talking about it. It's like normally we're excited for like when people pair up, it usually means some good buddy stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like there wasn't a whole lot. Dario, the shine of Dario is quickly wearing off.
I
a
never
little
become
bit, I
anti
think.
Dario, but he definitely you're right. The shine wears off.
You
He's no
get
Braun,
there.
okay?
Yeah, well, he's not a particularly deep person. You learn. I think that like there's this promise and this idea at the beginning that maybe there is this deeper side to him, and then you're like, oh no, he's just like, yeah, you should just kill everyone. Yeah, do you know what? You should just keep killing everyone. It's like, oh, okay, we get it. We know what you want to do.
At this point in the show, he's starting to get a little obnoxious.
Yeah.
Just his conversations with Jorah, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, we get it. Like, you're right. I mean, he's already kind
This
of
is an extremely old man.
He's already won that dick measuring contest like 3 times over. It's
Yeah.
like, you don't need to. Yeah, I don't know, but they do eventually.
Yeah, they get to Vice Dothrak. You're not allowed to bring weapons into the city. I mean, they kill a couple guys, and they're just looking to get across, saying they're merchants or whatever. And Ser Jorah does drop his stuff because he's good, but you know, the little bastard had to bring a dagger in with him.
Yeah,
and
which is
attached
good.
to
It
it.
did come in handy.
It
so
did.
you know,
quality little quiet fights. Also, good to see the nightlife of Vice Dothrak is super wholesome. Seemed.
I missed it. All these seasons,
rager.
I missed it.
I know. I was just like, where's this animalistic society? We need more of that. But they find her pretty quick, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're just waiting in the bushes right next to the mother's home, the retired mother's home. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think, do they have, I feel like it's mentioned by name a couple times. I don't remember what it is.
Oh, shoot, it's on the tip of my tongue.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Let's just go talk about Danny then. She is with all the former wives, and she kind of they talk a lot of crap to her. I guess we need to start from the beginning. She gets picked up, and they don't really know who she is.
Yeah.
And she does that thing where she understands the language, and they don't know she understands the language, and then she just shit talks him in the language.
It doesn't get old. That's
I really enjoy it.
If I was able to do that, I'd do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'd hang around people and just bring it up over dumb stuff. I'd be like, hey, you should have gotten the beef, sir.
I like they got a guy who looks kind of like Khal Drogo too.
Yeah.
He's not all that different, and they say all these sexist, horrible
some
things.
Good comedy in this scene. I would say.
Yeah.
He's like sleeping with a woman's like one of the best things ever, and this guy's like, what about killing another cow?
Oh my god.
What about riding a horse?
He's like, okay, it's one of the top 5 things. It really is a little moment out of Thrones writing, but I enjoyed it.
I love it.
I think that's what I enjoyed the most about it. I was like, where the hell?
I think they do those things,
and the fact
in
that
a
she
really
understands
fun
it,
way.
but they don't know she understands it, makes it just that much better.
Yeah, no, that is a really good moment. I like that. But yeah, so they find out that she's a dead Call's wife. So they're like, "Oh, we've got a house for you." And they
Josh Colleen.
Josh Colleen.
Had to say it as a game.
And they take her there, and she's like, "Well, this is the senior center that I did not want to come to." Essentially.
And they don't even know if they're going to accept her. Like, the main woman's like, these are all bitches. And then there's one younger girl who she kind of befriends.
Yeah.
Who apparently is a chain smoker. Anytime she speaks on the line, it's like, yes.
I was 14. My first child.
That was your best impression yet.
I think I'm holding that thing to my throat.
I hate this. Let's move on.
Dothraki never get old because there's so much war, and if they do,
they get empathy. Don't be like me, kids. Listen to your damn
all right. So anyway, she doesn't like this. She doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where they meet up. She's like, I gotta go pee. Friend, come with me.
They just like let her
room.
wander off to pee.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I was
And
like,
then-
she can just leave whenever she wants, I guess?
She was
I
like,
don't know.
girlfriend, we both need to go to the bathroom at the same time. We gotta go talk. And
okay, come on. Listen, I hope they don't kill you.
You sound like a ghoul from Fallout 4. Oh, man.
Sure.
oh, well, thank you. I have zero concept of what that means. I've heard of that game. But they go out, and then the guys are right there. Like, yep, we were waiting for you. We nailed this one, really.
Yeah.
But they want to run. She's like, nah, I got a plan.
Yeah.
What did you think at that point? Because I was worried she was going to be stuck here all season.
Last time you decided to stay somewhere, we were there for far too long.
I'm in Karth for a season. I'm in Marine for 7 seasons. You know, it just gets a little old.
Yeah. I was, I don't know. I was ready for her to be out of there again. I think that is the story of Danny to some extent. Is like, I'm ready for you to be somewhere else. You should go somewhere else. And then she gets to the next place. I'm like, okay, this isn't what I was expecting. You should go to the next one. But I will say, speaking of recycling old tricks,
Yes.
she does.
She burns
She plays
shit
her greatest hits and ends with the encore
The best tricks.
of stepping out of a fire, totally unhurt and totally naked, after burning, I don't know how many,
It
like
is
10
so
or 11
cool.
dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Leaders.
it's pretty rad.
They're just talking smack, and she's just like, I'm not going to do this. And she had it all planned out. And they make a point. It's very well shot. The ground is just like covered in grass. Like, everything just looks so flammable.
Yeah.
So the second time I mentioned, but she just grabs those, no fear, and just shoves them over. and watching those guys cower in fear. Oh man, I love watching people burn alive. It's just really tickles me.
It's second only to the sound of a young boy's neck snapping.
It's one of the top 5 greatest things.
Snapping Ollie's neck, burning down the calls. But then she gets a Misa moment, but this is different from slaves doing it.
Yeah.
This is a massive horde of Dothraki bowing down. I like how they're bowing in 360 degrees, even though the people behind them don't really know what's going on.
Like, everyone's bowing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna bow? I'm gonna bow too. Let's all bow.
I don't want to be the only person standing.
Oh,
they all think they're like kneeling in respect for the dead cows that are in there.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a good.
It's way cool. Okay, let's look back now on Dany's time in Marine. Like, was she an interesting character? Were you enjoying watching her as she went through this political upheaval with the masters and slaves? Or was it? I don't think it was bad by any means, but overall, what's your reflection on that storyline to this point?
I don't hate it by any means. I think it's at some point it's like, okay, we're just watching her, her mistakes catching up to her, and but I do think I do think she learns like meaningful stuff from that, and like now that Tyrion's there, like she's asked people for help and I don't know. So I think that I don't hate it. I think it's fine. It's not like my favorite stuff. I don't think that stuff has ever been my favorite in the show, but it's never been terrible. I don't think. But
yeah, I feel like it's just preparing her to be able to be successful if she ever goes over to Westeros and decides to try to take the throne. I think that she needed to learn all those lessons instead of just being like, oh, I'm winning everything. Okay, I'm going to go over there, because it would have been like a shell shock, I think, because they all know what they're doing in Westeros.
Anything else on Dany before we can go over to Tyrion?
Nope.
Does she find? Is that the last thing we see of her?
That's the last thing we see. Yep. Back in Marine, Tyrion's trying to rule things. He's just prancing around his city looking like a rich man. I love Varys's the way he undercuts him, but there's still this mutual respect, and we get some dragon moments. We get
I do love that scene. Like, first of all, it's one of those things. It's a scene that I watch in a movie, and I'm like, if I got to those bottom of those stairs, I would take probably one more step, and I'd just be like, no. And I just turn around and walk away. Like, that's how my story ends in Game of Thrones. And so, like, that scene where he goes down and, like, takes their chains off and, like, tells them this story. It's, like, a really kind of rad scene. And then the ending of it's my favorite when he just gets up. He's like, if I ever have an idea like that again, punch me in the face. Like, it's just this really great moment that's really true to that character. And yeah, it's cool to see Tyrion like get to stretch his legs in a way that we have. Like, he's not hamstrung by anyone. He is in charge.
Oh yeah,
and like he is the most qualified person in the room most of the time he's in there, and so it's fun to watch that. But yeah,
I don't know. I didn't really understand why, but he does it. It's interesting. It's the fact that he survives is good. I mean, I didn't think they'd kill him, but just the whole moment, you're right. It is more about what he's saying and what he's feeling than the other fact that's like, why would he really go down and risk his life like this? But it really comes together well. And it's one of the better dragon moments. I think it's because the movement is a little bit simpler and quieter. Yeah. I like it a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He's beforehand he does say like, they started chaining up, Targaryen started chaining up dragons and they just got smaller and smaller and died off. So he's like, well, she's not here, and if they stay chained up, so I mean, like, there's that, I guess.
It also, like, based on the story he tells, and kind of like when they see the dragon earlier, it's almost like, this is on my bucket list, so I'm gonna go touch some dragons.
He was just like, might as well. At this point, never gonna get another chance to just hang with some dragons. And he's just bored. And I don't love all the boredom. I don't think there's plenty of it that I actually don't find all that funny. But he is trying to get into politicking, and he invites some of the other slavers over, and they have a little tea party.
Did we already talk about that in a previous episode, or is that this set of episodes?
No, so Tyrion, right? Yeah. Is it? Because at the end of last season is when she leaves, and now he's in charge, and he's going to try and broker a peace, and his whole thing is, you can have slavery for 7 more years. Like, he'll give them time to fix their economy to wean off of it, which, surprise, surprise, his friends who are former slaves, not very into.
Yeah. What did you guys feel about that watching the first time?
Vindicated. Because we talked about
Selfish and wrong?
Danny's whole thing is like she basically just comes into an area, upsets everything about it, and leaves, which caused a lot of problems. Go figure. And so Tyrion actually, like, it may not be the best tactic, but it is a tactic for like long term. You know what I mean? He is thinking a long term game and like about making things better in the long term. Like you can't just come in and change everything in one day and make everyone's lives magically better, which has been Danny's whole MO for seasons at this point. And so I think it is good to have that perspective there. And I totally get the other side of that too, but
you get that slavery is
wrong. We already did that, and it didn't work. Yes, I understand slavery is wrong, and if we could get rid of it in one day in Slaver's Bay, cool.
Abraham Lincoln
we already
did.
tried that.
I'm just kidding. Okay.
Let's not get into that.
I know American
Look what
history.
happened to him. Just kidding.
Never go see plays.
But yeah, so I think all that stuff's pretty interesting. Yeah, it does make the case that like Danny is definitely not a perfect leader by any means, and she still has a ways to go. And so but she's asked for that help, and it's cool. I like where that's going. So.
Meanwhile, in Bravos, Arya's just getting her trash kicked as a blind girl while people just watch.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other people who are just like, why is that little homeless blind girl getting the crap beat out of her? Well, that's some exhibition there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a homeless person and one of the other homeless people that I didn't know was handed a staff and did battle with someone else who was really good at staff wielding, I probably wouldn't step in.
Like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's fair.
I don't know which side I should fight for. I mean, like, I'm willing to help people in danger, but I'm like, I don't know if this blind person's a dick. Like, they might deserve this.
She is like, this is just another point in her very long training montages over a season. She had to clean stuff, and now she has to work blindfolded. I mean, she's lived out the Karate Kid.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And now Ralph Macchio, or what's the name of the actor who plays the bad guy? I only know because he was on
Billy
How I Met Your
Zabka.
Mother. Thank you, Billy Zabka. And the waif is Billy Zabka. That's where I was going with that.
But yeah, that stuff is interesting, and I can honestly say like it's kind of the stuff I wanted from Arya. Like it's slow and it's weird, and I don't understand it, and I like that about it. And I like that we're seeing like some stuff happen with Arya. Her arc is cool. Like I like the stuff they've done with her character this whole show up to this point, and this is just more like I think she has some of the more subtle moments of character growth, but that are just as meaningful as anything else happening in the show. They're really good, really good.
I mean, her arc, she's kind of with her dad and everything, and then she's on her way north, and then she gets randomly lost with just her and her buds, like she's just a lost boy, and then she's off with the Hound, and now she's been training with freaking faceless ninjas. It's pretty cool.
It is cool, yeah, it's rad.
It's one that I was worried about because I feel like it's not spoiling anything to say like we know kind of where her story's going, like what she's gonna have to become, eventually, and I was worried about how they were gonna get there believably by the time season 3 hit, because I'm like, she's still not like this badass fighter. She's like a badass person just because of how she handles situations, but I still don't see her like holding her own and stuff. But like, this is what I wanted to make that more believable. For when we get to where I feel like it's pretty obvious where she's kind of going as far as herself.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I like it.
But yeah, and then
anything else on Arya?
She gets her sight back.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Minor
that's a big
technical.
Restored sight.
She passed the test.
After a couple fight rounds, Jacken comes and he tests her with like questions, and is like, "I'll do this for you if you say your name."
Yeah,
and like that was cool. Interesting.
She I had no idea where I was going with that, but it was going to be good.
Sorry, I ruined it.
No, but I remember watching that originally and it feeling like she was blind forever, and I'm like, oh wait, it was only a few episodes.
But I mean, it is over a season, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost half a
break.
season.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it feels like I'm sure a lot longer in real time.
Yeah. So back to our kind of our home base here. Best for last in some ways. King's Landing.
Oh, gosh.
Cersei is out of prison now at this point, and she's just like back with Jaime, and she's like, screw the rest of the world. All that matters is us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She specifically says, F prophecy, F fate, F everyone that isn't us.
Yeah. And then, like, yeah, and they're gonna presumably get back all the, I don't know, to, like, restore the Lannister name in some meaningful way, or I don't know. It's interesting. Because her whole thing has really backfired on her. The whole, let's give this church a whole bunch of power, and then, yeah, that really backfired. But,
Marjorie's just chilling, still in prison, looking fly. But she starts to, she's just being quoted at scripture, and you can just tell she's still trying. She's still alive. She's still kicking. And then Cersei's just walking around with her zombie. Jaime and Tommen have a moment next to Marcella's body. Oh, yeah. Cersei's not allowed to go to her daughter's funeral, and that pisses her off a lot. Yeah. But at the body, Jaime and Tommen have this moment, and it's the first time Jaime's really tried to be a father to Tommen that we've seen. And you can just tell, like, it's not working.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, I mean, it worked so well with Marcella right before she bit it. But...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's back-to-back times now. We've seen him kind of have moments with his kids, and maybe even... I don't think he was going to come clean to Tommen at this point, but really when he's trying to step in and do what he needs to as a father, and Tommen is just... Kid is lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah. That stuff's all pretty weird. And you kind of get the... Because he does go and, like that, the scene after that too, with like Jaime and the High Sparrow, and then like all the sparrows coming out of like the shadows is really cool, and and kind of sets up like what, like just kind of puts more kindling on the fire that I'm sure this conflict is brewing.
The sparrow, he just kills it, man.
He's really cool, yeah.
The way he just stays so subtle and never even comes off as like snarkily threatening, and yet has all of these guys behind him that, like, again, Jaime is obviously much weaker now, but you know he couldn't take that many guys.
Yeah.
Even though interesting that they would shed blood in the Sept. But yeah, it just such a wonderful
Homeboy's raped in the Sept
biting.
Before, right?
Gosh, yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Oh,
gosh,
yeah, he doesn't care.
Thing.
And dude, the sparrow, man, and then he tells his story, and he says he was pretty much a cobbler. I mean, he's no Adam Sandler, but he was just making shoes for rich people and enjoying that life. Like, we kind of get to hear a little bit of his backstory. I don't know if I even think it's true, but it is a really good monologue.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really good moment. So, yeah. But yeah, that's a really interesting thing. I think that's probably my favorite thing from last season. I think, like, looking back, was the whole kind of church coming into power thing, and so I'm excited to see how some of those things resolve this season, because it feels like we're on the brink of like some crazy shit happening in King's Landing. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that.
What did you think of King's Landing, Riley? Did we miss anything?
Jaime and Cersei go to the small council, which they'd previously kind of been like
Get a fart joke.
made fun of at, and they're like, we need to do something because they were going to make Marjorie go atone, and so they called the Tyrell's army to come in and kind of stop the whole thing and take Loras and Marjorie back. And so it kind of ends on that like cliffhanger, like you don't know how that's going to go with that whole, I don't know. It's going to get crazy though, I think.
Yeah. What we do know is that when Pycelle gets nervous, he toots.
I was like, when that first happened, my first time, I'm like, I can't believe I just saw a fart joke.
I had to rewind, like, to know if I actually heard it. Like,
You can't control it, okay? Sometimes,
so
guys.
ridiculous.
I feel like I would have felt really uncomfortable as a member of the cast when the director's like, okay, now we're going to have this fart joke. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So season 5 is a little bleak, a little rough, and it's not like anything explosive happens in the first few, but we really start to turn a quarter and feel these stories like start to come out of that and really build in unique ways. But what's your MVP person or storyline for the first 4 episodes here?
I mean, I really like the Arya stuff. I think that stuff's really interesting, and it feels like it feels like stuff that's going to come to a head soon. Like, she's put in the time, and I feel like that next step is going to be interesting, whatever that is.
I wish we knew how much time she'd put in. It's just hard to tell time in the Thrones world.
It is very hard.
Our best gauge should probably be Gilly's kid, but I don't know.
It's played by a new kid every other episode. So.
Just like Bran.
But they all look like Craster.
Riley, what about you? Anything stick out from here?
I think just Dany's whole thing, because she leaves it on such a huge moment.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just bomb. And it'll be cool to see her kind of take that role with the Dothraki again. But they've all, like, bowed down this time to kind of, and there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I mean, that's a big swing. I guess you don't really know what's going to happen, but it's huge. And that is like a season. That's how you know that the season's bigger. And that's a season finale-esque moment that we're taking to an episode 4 because like we're making time. We're making story now.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, that was episodes 1 through 4 of season 6 of Game of Thrones. We are the Rewatchers on the Wall. Thank you. That's it.
Wow.
I've never ended an episode that way. All of a sudden, I just kind of, I was like, I guess we're done.
When you're done saying what you got to say, you're done. You know?
Shut up.